welcome back to our final Taft Heritage show of this year's program. I'm your host, Hannah Morris, and today we're honored to have a very special guest, someone who dedicates her time to supporting students' mental health across our campus and district. She's known for checking in on students, offering guidance, and ensuring that everyone has someone that they can talk to. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Delfina Duarte.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, Ms. Delfina, where and when were you born, and how would you describe your childhood, and how did that help shape where you are today?
So I was actually born in Mexico. I was born in Tijuana, and I was raised in North San Diego County. And so my parents were both immigrants, as well as myself. My father contracted or became ill with Alzheimer's dementia in my late teens, early 20s, and I became a caregiver, and that kind of started me on the journey of kind of really wanting to be a social worker and helping others.
What motivated you to focus specifically on supporting students?
Okay, so I used to work at the courts, and my job was to help people who were unhoused and didn't have a place to live or were losing a place to live. And I also dealt with people that had difficult backgrounds. And I really wanted to start at the beginning and making a difference so that when you become adults, you're not struggling and you're not facing those barriers to be successful in your life. And I think that really kind of started me in wanting to work with students and young people, because high school is your opportunity to practice to be an adult and make mistakes and pick yourself up, and hopefully I can guide you and walk alongside you with that journey.
That's great. I like that. So you said that you moved from Mexico to San Diego County?
Correct.
When did you move?
I was an infant, so I was a newborn, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been raised in the U.S. my entire life.
How did you maintain those connections with family, friends, or family in general who just lived in, or if they stayed in Mexico? How did you maintain those relationships and connections?
Very similar to your classmates. We would travel during the month of December. We would leave around Thanksgiving weekend and spend the entire month of December in Mexico visiting family and reconnecting with aunts, uncles, cousins. And my brother and I are actually the only two cousins to be raised in the U.S. All of my other first cousins were all raised in Mexico.
How did you meet your husband, and how has your personal life influenced your perspective on relationships and just emotional well-being in general?
Okay, so my husband is the one who pulled me to Kern County, and we met through a mutual friend on a blind date, and it kind of just
That's cute.
went from there.
It's really cute.
He's, being married, and we've been married for close to 25 years. It means you got to work at a relationship. Not everything is good in the relationship, but there's more good than bad. And so you have to work hard at looking at your relationship, looking at the green flags and the red flags.
At any point in your life, did you consider pursuing a different career? And if you did, what influenced, I guess you already told me what influenced you to ultimately commit to the social work, but did you ever consider any other careers?
Yes. I worked in that field of law for a very, very long time before I went back to school to get my master's in social work. I have a lot of friends who are attorneys. I have my old college roommate is a judge in LA County. And so a lot of my friends were in law. They did a lot of social justice work. One of my closest friends is an attorney at the Youth Law Center in San Francisco. And so she works a lot with helping youth who have like difficult backgrounds.
It's really cool. Law. I don't know. I want to go into law, I think. Did you have fun? Like did you study it or did you have fun studying it?
Before I became a social worker, I was a certified paralegal. And so it's been helpful in knowing how to read the law because words matter. There's a difference in how you use words. So shall and can and could are all very different words and mean very different things in law. And so some things are very black and white, and some things you can work in the gray area as well.
That's really cool. How do you manage to stay so composed, motivated, emotionally balanced, or just not stressful during high pressure situations while you're at work?
That is an excellent question. Believe it or not, some of your peers have some pretty difficult moments. And that doesn't mean that once you leave my office, I don't break down or I don't feel what you guys are feeling. Remember how I said my job is to walk alongside you? And sometimes it's hard to walk alongside you without becoming emotional and crying as well. So just because I do therapy and I'm a therapist doesn't mean that I don't seek out therapy as well. So sometimes you gotta help yourself to be able to help others.
I think it's pretty amazing that like you're able to hold it together in such an emotional situation. I think that's very admirable.
Thank you.
Yeah. What does a typical week in your role, in your job look like, and what aspects of your job do you find the most rewarding?
Okay, so a typical week starts with me planning out on my planner my week, and then Monday morning it gets thrown out the window.
Yeah.
So it could be, a typical week could mean it's easy and I'm seeing my regular students on my caseload and I've got my appointments. And then an untypical week could be, it starts off with a crisis and it goes from one crisis to another, to another, to another. Sometimes some of your classmates have some pretty difficult mental health challenges that require me to sometimes call other agencies to have them be helped because they're really struggling. So yeah, it could be
pretty sporadic, huh?
It could be sporadic.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love what I do, especially right now with the wellness center. At lunchtime, I've got kids in there all lunch every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my best friends, I think she's in there every day. How much of your time is spent documenting and reporting, and how do these responsibilities contribute to supporting the students that you mentor effectively?
Well, so this is the thing. A lot of people think that because I'm the school social worker, my job is just to talk to students, and we just talk. But part of it is me documenting a lot of every time we meet. Anytime I meet with a student or I have a student on my caseload, there's a lot of documentation. And not because I particularly like documentation, but legally I have certain responsibilities.
Like an obligation, yeah.
Yeah, I have a legal obligation to document a lot of things, set up assessments, treatment plans, document every visit to make sure my students are progressing and meeting goals. So
yeah.
So I would say 50% of my time is documenting and 50% is meeting with kids.
Yeah. Let's see. How did you meet your colleagues such as Nurse Shawn? How have these professional relationships really supported your work?
So, for example, Nurse Shawn is probably one of my biggest allies on campus because his ethical standards and my ethical standards align very closely. We maintain confidentiality. We consult with others in our profession. So we have very similar backgrounds in the sense that we have those ethical standards. Sometimes students go to him with a headache or chest pains or a stomach ache, and really there's nothing medically wrong with them. What it is those are symptoms of, say, anxiety.
Right.
And so they mimic an illness, but really it's your body keeping the score and saying, hey, I'm not doing well. My mind is not doing well, because your mind is an organ in your body. And so it's telling you, hey, slow down, pay attention to me. Something's happening. And then, like Mrs. Adams, who's at BV, the other social worker, she and I went to school together. So we did our master's program together.
That's really cool. She was actually my next question. What ways do you collaborate with Mrs. Adams, and how does that teamwork improve students' support?
We collaborate all the time. Remember how I said we consult with our colleagues? She is one of the colleagues she's the only colleague I really consult with aside from Sean, because we can discuss situations, kind of come up with a game plan with regards to our students, figure out what's ethical, what's not ethical. I think one of the challenges that we had here on campus when we first got here is that we're not teachers and we're not school counselors. And so we have to follow some pretty strict ethical boundaries. And part of that is not sharing what we talk about. So, and I know that there were some Taft colleagues who really struggled with that, because they wanted to know when they referred a student what the outcome was. What did we talk about? And I couldn't share that.
Yeah. So you said Mrs. Adams, she works at BV. So what difference do you hear, like, from the mental awareness? What difference do you hear, see, and learn from the mental awareness booth for TUHS? And I know we do one in mental health club at BV. What's like the difference there? Is there like a big difference?
In the students, or how we run like our...
How you run it, I guess.
No, it is actually really very similar when we do like our mental health awareness fairs, or like the Red Ribbon Week fair. The students are amazing on both campuses. On the BV campus, students are a little bit more reserved. They don't want to interact at first. And once they start seeing that we're talking to them and interacting with them, then they really start to get into like participating and talking to us, talking to the other booths, talking to the other students. So I really like the fact that we can go from one campus to the other. And I think it's really important, because as my students go to BV for recovering units, her students come back to my campus. And so we get to see both students. And so it's good to collaborate in that way.
Yeah, and I'm glad like the mental health booth at BV can help them step out of their comfort zone a little bit too.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So when was the Mental Health Awareness Club established? And who helped you found it?
So there was a student, and she graduated early this year. Her name is Brianna Garcia. She came to me at the end of her sophomore year wanting to start it. And I think her goal is she wants to go into psychology. And so she really wanted to start something that would make a difference. And so we did the paperwork through the ASB and did everything we needed to do. And we got started with, I think we had a total of 6 members when we first started meeting. And now our meetings are anywhere between like 35 to 40 students every time we have a meeting.
I've been slacking on the meetings. I haven't been going the last few. What long-term impact do you hope the club will have on the students in the school environment?
I think the biggest impact we want is to remove any stigma about mental health, because if you have a brain, you're going to suffer from a mental health challenge at any given time in life. Whether it is the anxiety of starting a new job, the first day jitters of school, losing a family member, losing a pet, breaking up. That's a big one. A breakup is a big one. There's a lot of grief, a lot of emotions with a breakup. Friendships, challenges with friendships. So I think removing the stigma of what mental health is and taking away some of those words like, I'm not crazy. It's not that you're crazy. You're just going through a difficult time. It's a challenge. And hopefully removing some of that stigma.
What type of activities or initiatives does the club organize to raise an awareness about mental health and emotional health?
So what we do is we try at every meeting to do some type of activity, some type of coming together. And really, the Mental Health Club has varying groups of students. You have kids from different backgrounds. Even some of the ELD students participate in our meetings. Sometimes they have a hard time, they'll come back to me, what did we discuss? What happened at the end? So we have a lot of kids from different backgrounds and the ability to come together and really, share our experiences. We do activities. The club participates in bringing awareness to substance use and how that can affect your mental health. And that's because we participate in Red Ribbon Week, and just showing the community what other resources are out there to support our students. And hopefully, some of our students in our club may want to one day become mental health professionals, whether they're school social workers, counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists.
How do you ensure that all the students from different backgrounds feel safe and included and even respected when they're participating in the club meetings?
Well, this is the thing. My office, whether it was my office and now the Wellness Center, has always been a safe space, which means everyone is welcome. There is no judgment there. We do not allow people, try to keep the cussing at a low, but we also don't want someone to feel ostracized, saying that they don't belong, that we want to make sure that everyone is welcomed and that regardless of who you are, you have value. And that is really important for me, because as a school social worker and as a social worker in general, one of my canons is that every life has value and that we don't judge others. So we have to learn how to recognize our biases and address our biases and check those at the door to make sure that everyone is welcomed.
So I know the Wellness Center wasn't always in that building, right?
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, where was it first? And I know you're moving to the Cat Cave, right, next year or something like that? What are the plans for that?
So this was the first year that we were able to open up a wellness center. Last year, I submitted for a grant and I got a really small amount to buy some furniture and make it comfortable. And they allowed me to borrow a classroom. And so this has actually been the first year that we've had a wellness center. And since I opened in August, I've had over 3,000 visits to the wellness center.
Wow.
So I'll be moving to the space that's directly next door to the Cat Cave. So hopefully it'll be a little smaller, but hopefully it'll work for us.
Yeah. Do you think there should be a course at school focused on mental health or social work?
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing if we could do something like that.
Yeah.
And I would love to do that. In fact, I don't know, who can we talk to about that?
It'd be like we have the CTEC classes for law enforcement and stuff like that. I think it'd be an amazing idea for that. That was a good question, Patricia.
Mrs. McMinn, actually, when she does her healthcare, her healthcare class does cover mental health. So it is part of her curriculum as well.
it'd be amazing just to have a class dedicated to mental health, though, too.
Yes.
Let's see. How do you apply your professional knowledge to your own family, like supporting your children's emotional and social development?
That is an excellent question. So this is the thing. Being a social worker means that I'm not a social worker 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point in time, I check my profession at the door, and I just become mom,
Mm-hmm.
or the wife, or grandma, which means that we're all human and we all make mistakes. And sometimes, I get to be who I am, my own genuine self. Being a social worker has made me a little bit more patient, more aware of what I say and how I say it and how it affects others. But at home, I'm not always a social worker, so I'm just mom.
Yeah. Let's see. What is a sound bath, and how did you discover this practice as a tool for the Wellness Center?
Yes. So we got this email from the Ventura County Office of Education where they got some grant money to do sound baths. And a sound bath is a meditation that immerses you in sound. So you have quartz singing bowls, you have different instruments, and basically there's science behind it, and it helps you regulate your nervous system. And it is a form of meditation, and it's meant to be complementary to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we applied, because you had to apply to be allowed to participate in a 2-day certification to become a sound bath facilitator. And so it was really fun. It was learning the science behind it and learning how to use instruments and how instruments affect your mood. And so hopefully more students will come and do sound baths. So far, I've only had a lot of staff come, and I've had like maybe 2 or 3 students, but next year I'm hoping more. And actually, Mrs. Connors wants to incorporate that in her physics class, because
it's like frequencies and
sounds. Yeah.
That's really cool. I think that'd be a good idea. What other resources do you give students who are for them to calm down or just calm their nerves or anxiety?
Well, there's different things that you can do. Obviously, there's breathing exercises, the use of fidgets. Sometimes it's walking with the student. Sometimes a student just needs somebody to listen. Sometimes I don't even need to talk. They just want to let it all out. And that's okay too. Sometimes you don't want to be reflected back and told what to do. You just want somebody to help you be seen and heard.
What advice would you give to students who are struggling at a low point in their lives?
That there's always help, and there's always someone to help you, and that you're never alone.
That about wraps it up. Perfect on time. Thank you, Delfina, for coming into the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching through the whole video. Are there any last things you would like to say to the audience?
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for having me and interviewing me and taking interest in what I do on campus. I think that's amazing. And keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out, and thank you for watching. And as always, go Cats.